Hello and welcome to the September 2nd, 2022 edition of Watching the Tape. This week's video is going to be all about the sectors that make up the S&P 500 index. If you watch any of the financial news networks, sometimes you'll hear the analysts refer to sectors, and they'll talk about what's working, what's not, where to put your money, etc. And many times there isn't much context surrounding these sector names. You might just hear, for example, that consumer staples and energy stocks are doing well, or that basic materials and consumer discretionary stocks are lagging. Just an example. So I thought it would be fun to give a crash course on the sectors, including their weightings, what companies are in those sectors, and then finish off with how each of those sectors has performed year to date through the first 8 months of this year. So let's jump into it. And for that, we're going to go to a Bloomberg screen, and this shows the S&P 500 pie chart. So it includes the 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500. So information technology, healthcare, consumer discretionary, financials, etc. And it's an intraday performance chart. So green means good, red means bad. For example, energy sector is down 2.5% today. So not a good day for energy. But let's go back to the slides to walk through the sectors, what they are, what's in them, etc. So largest sector is information technology with a weighting of 27%. It's tech companies. It includes Apple, Microsoft, Visa, NVIDIA, MasterCard. Those are the largest 5 names in this index. Healthcare, the next largest sector, at 14% weighting. This includes companies that provide medical supplies, it's the pharmaceutical companies, it's the health insurance companies. The largest 5 companies in this sector are United Health, Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, Pfizer, and AbbVie. Then we go on to consumer discretionary with a weighting of 11%. So consumer discretionary includes products and services that are not essential to survival. So the demand for these products and services is largely driven by economic conditions and overall consumer wealth. The largest 5 companies in this index include Amazon, Tesla, Home Depot, McDonald's, and Nike. Financials, pretty straightforward. It's your insurance companies, your banks. It's an 11% weighting in the S&P 500. Largest 5 companies there: Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley. And we move on to communication services. Not as clear what's in here, but think about these being the companies that keep people connected. So it's internet providers, it's cell phone companies, media companies, including social media platforms. The largest 5 companies in this sector are Google, Facebook, Disney, T-Mobile, and Verizon. Industrials. Industrials is sort of a catch-all for companies ranging from construction to transportation to defense contractors. The largest 5 companies in this sector are UPS, Union Pacific, Raytheon, Honeywell, and Lockheed Martin. And we go to consumer staples. So in contrast with consumer discretionary, these companies provide goods and services that are essential for survival. They're the necessities. So it's food and beverage, it's personal care products, it's household products. And the largest 5 companies in this sector are Walmart, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Costco. Moving on to energy. This is a headline grabber this year. It's only a 5% weighting in the index. So it's oil and gas. So anything to do with exploring for it, drilling for it, refining it, distributing it, that's energy. So the largest 5 companies in this sector are ExxonMobil, Chevron, Conoco, EOG Resources, and Occidental. Then we get into some of the really small sectors here. So utilities. Utility companies provide energy to your homes and businesses. It's water, gas, electricity. Not household names necessarily, unless these companies actually provide the energy to your home. So NextEra, Duke, Southern Co., Dominion Energy, and Sempra Energy, those are the largest 5 companies in this sector. Real estate, so real estate investment trusts. These are the companies that own properties that are rented out to tenants. So, and it's properties like offices, retail stores, apartments, mini storages, warehouses, and cell phone towers. So the largest 5 companies in this sector are American Tower, Prologis, Crown Castle, Equinix, and Public Storage. And the last one, the smallest sector, is materials. These companies provide the raw materials to other sectors so that those other sector companies can operate. It's mining products, forestry products, packaging products. The biggest companies in this sector are Linde, Sherwin-Williams, Air Products, Ecolab, and Corteva. So now that you have had that quick refresher on each sector and what some of the names are in each sector, let's move on to what I think is the interesting part, which is how each sector has performed through the first 8 months of this year. And for that, we're going to jump back to Bloomberg. Going to go to a different screen here. So this shows the S&P 500 at the top. It shows that the S&P 500 is down 17.6% year to date. And then it includes all 11 sectors. So at the very top, the best performing sector this year is energy. It's up 41%. So we can drill down into that energy sector and see the best performers and the worst performers. Occidental Petroleum Corp is the best performing company within the energy index this year. It's up 137%. So Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway has been amassing quite a position in the shares of this company. So that explains a lot of the outperformance there. What I would point out is that even the worst performing energy company at the bottom here, ONEOK, I believe it's pronounced, is still in the green for the year. So let's jump back out and take a look at the other sectors, kind of high level here. We can see utilities is up 4 or 5%. It's the only other sector in the green. The 9 of the 11 sectors are in the red for the year. So let's drop down to the worst performing sector, which is communication services. And recall that communication services are the companies that keep people connected. And only 2 of the 26 companies in this sector are in the green, T-Mobile and Activision. Now, Activision is in the process of being acquired by Microsoft. So that explains the outperformance for that one. And if we go to the very bottom here, we've got some recognizable names. We've got Netflix down 62%, Meta Platforms, which is Facebook, down 51%, Charter Communications down 36% on the year. These are some big declines. All right, let's take a look at one more sector. We'll look at the second worst performing sector, consumer discretionary. So recall that consumer discretionary products and services are those that are not required for survival. And what are some of the worst performers in this sector? You've got Caesars Entertainment down 55%, so I guess you don't need to go to Vegas and gamble. Carnival Cruise Lines is down 54%, so I guess you don't need to go on cruises. And Etsy is down 52%, so I guess you don't need to buy weird stuff online. So let's jump back out to the sector level performers here. And actually, no, let's go back into consumer discretionary because there is one thing that I wanted to point out. I almost forgot. Chipotle Mexican Grill. I would argue, and I know some other people who would argue, that Chipotle is almost necessary for survival. So, and maybe that explains why it's down only 9%. It's a relative outperformer relative to the sector and the S&P 500. So again, let's go back out to the sector level here. It's kind of backing up a little bit. It's interesting to click through this Bloomberg function and see what's working this year and what's not. And it becomes easier to tell stories about the market. For example, consumer staples is down 5 to 6%. It's an outperformer relative to the S&P 500. And now recall, these are products that are necessary for survival, or at least necessary for a comfortable survival. And if there's a perception that consumers are hunkering down and only buying the necessities right now because of inflation and an uncertain economic outlook, then yeah, it makes sense that consumer staple stocks would be relative outperformers this year. Just one example. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks.